How's it everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I built this outdoor shed from PVC pipe and wood, and it survived a year and a half of Japanese weather, including several typhoons. Let me show you how I built it. Let's go. Before we get started, this isn't an engineered structure or a replacement for a permanent shelter. I built it specifically for my backyard because I wanted a small, covered workspace without taking up too much space. There weren't any plans for this build. I'll list the materials I used and give as many measurements as I can. Having said that, let's get started. The first thing I did was cut all of the PVC pipe for the frame. I used roughly 12 to 15 pieces, with each piece being about 2 meters long. I don't remember the exact specification of the pipe, so I'll put the information I do have in the description. There was a lot of measuring, cutting, checking the fit, and making adjustments along the way. Once I had the main pieces cut, I started working on the base. For the base, I used concrete blocks and embedded the PVC posts into them. Before filling them, I drilled several holes through the lower portion of the PVC. The idea was to allow the concrete to flow through those openings and into the pipe, creating a connection between the pipe and the concrete. Once everything was filled, I let the concrete cure for a couple days before moving on to the frame. With the concrete cured, it was time to start putting the frame together. I dry fitted the entire frame first. Since I was designing this as I went, this was probably the most important step. It allowed me to make sure all of the pieces fit together, check the overall dimensions, and make sure I had enough PVC fittings before permanently assembling everything. Once I was happy with the fit, I took the frame apart and started permanently assembling it. For this, I used PVC glue, which is used for joining PVC pipe. I applied the glue to both the outside of the pipe and the inside of the fitting before pushing them together. With the PVC frame finished, it was time to start adding the wood. For the walls, I used 1x4 boards. I wanted something that looked more like a traditional little outdoor structure, so I went with these horizontal boards to give it a bit of a log cabin look. Before installing them, I gave the boards 2 coats of an oil-based exterior stain. This adds some protection against the weather, but it also gives the wood a much cleaner and more finished appearance. Now I can start assembling the actual structure. I first attached the vertical wooden supports to the PVC frame using pipe clamps, or U-clamps. They call it saddle clamps here in Japan. From there, I started attaching the horizontal 1x4 boards using 1¼ inch wood screws. This was one of the biggest changes in the entire build. The PVC gave me the basic frame, but the wood really started tying everything together. As more of the boards went on, the structure started becoming much more rigid, and once the side walls were complete, I added the front and back sections. Next, I worked on the roof. I used 2x2 lumber as the cross members that would support the roofing panels. I actually didn't have a piece long enough for these sections, so I joined two pieces together using metal brackets. Then I attached the cross members to the PVC frame using pipe clamps and 1/2-inch self-tapping screws. I also used the self-tapping screws to keep the clamps from sliding along the PVC. And finally, it was time to put the roof on. For the roof, I used corrugated roofing panels. These are lightweight, let a lot of natural light through, and the panels I used also block UV rays, which helps keep the space underneath a little more comfortable. I attached the panels to the wooden cross members using roofing screws designed for corrugated roof panels. I made sure to overlap the panels and extend the roof beyond the frame to help keep rain out of the workspace. And that is it. This is what the finished structure looks like. This is the structure after about 1.5 years of use. During that time, it's been through several typhoons, some extremely windy weather, heavy rain, and all of the normal weather here in Japan. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed with how it's held up. The PVC frame is still intact, the wood is holding up, and the roof is still doing its job. I really like how this turned out, and it's become a really useful little workspace for me. If you're interested in more outdoor DIY projects like this, I've got quite a few more on my channel. So make sure you subscribe, and if you found this project useful, I'd appreciate a like. Thank you for watching. Until next time, mahalo and aloha.